very much. Please raise your hand if you bought something last week. Anything at all. A cup of coffee, groceries, an airline ticket, God forbid a house, a car. Leave your hands raised if that experience blew your mind. There's two things that are always going to happen. You're always going to have an experience and it's always going to leave an impression. Maybe not the one the company intended on. Siloed approaches result in fragmented experience and dissatisfied customers. Now, as consumers, we're a really fickle bunch. We talk about bad experiences more than we talk about the good ones. And if we've had one bad experience, we drop a brand like a hot potato. At any time, your brand or your reputation is only 2 clicks away from damage. Customers vote with their fingertips. And if they're unhappy, they become keyboard warriors. So before we go into what you can do to minimise the collateral damage on your company, we need to work out who owns the customer. Are there any salespeople in the room? If there were salespeople, they'd probably argue that they've got the first relationship with the consumer. So they probably own the relationship. As marketers or product marketers, we're doing all the advertising. So we're bringing all the customers in before the salespeople even get to them. So we arguably would own that relationship. Any customer service people in the room? I thought there was one yesterday. Thank you. You solve all of the customer's problems. And even though you're not at the forefront of that relationship, you'd argue that you own that relationship. But all of these are functions of what the business does. The customer experience is something that the customer gets or has. So if I was to ask you, out of all the brands that you've dealt with, who do you think owns you in that company? Just shout it out. So I'm guessing that you haven't had great experiences with brands because if you didn't shout anything out, then you'd probably say nobody owns you in that company. Customer experience is a holistic perception of your customers and how they interact with your brand. It's the result of every little thing that happens. So anything from the website all the way through to purchase. Everything you do impacts that customer's perception and whether they come back to your brand or not. So essentially, the customer is everybody's responsibility. Now let's explore how we're going to deliver a unified customer experience. When you operate from the outside in, the key word here is need and not product. When you look at your products and services from the point of view of the consumer, you're building them with their needs in mind, not yours. You make decisions because you know what your customers need because you talk to them. Mapping customer journeys makes sure that every employee in your organisation is aligned from the front office to the back office. And they all have a clear insight into the impact that they impact on the consumer. Too often, what we do is ship our organisational chart externally. Just because separate departments make segments of the experience, it doesn't mean the actual experience needs to be segmented. Somebody shout out a brand. Somebody, any brand?
Nike.
Awesome. Now, when we think about Nike, do we think about them as an individual? Do we go, oh, they've got marketing and accounts department and distribution and property management costs? As consumers, we don't think about them like that. We think about them as timing and stages of interaction. So we think about the buying process. We think about their stores. We think about their website and their advertising and how they make us feel. So consumers think about the process and the emotional perception that a brand gives us. Culture, this is a big one. Creating a customer-centred culture is the key. It's important for everybody within the business to understand the value of incorporating human insights into everything that we do. It means integrating all parts of your business into gathering those insights, which will help with the marketing messages, the product development, the roadmaps. Interestingly enough, customer-centric organisations are also employee-centric organisations, which means that if your employees are happy, they're going to create better customer experiences for your customers. Customers don't care whether they talk to the accounts department or the sales department or CX. They see your organisation as one entity, one business, and they expect you to know all about them. Now, I was changing my broadband provider the other day. Now, there's 2 hours I'm never going to get back. I rang up, I spoke to one person, I gave them my name, my details, what my problem was. They couldn't help me, so they put me on to somebody else. But rather than that person then knowing who I was, because I'd given it to the first person, they asked me for all of those details again. That person couldn't help me. In the end, I spoke to 4 people, and every time it was my name, my serial number, and what my problem was. How you deliver an experience is becoming just as important as the value of the product you're offering. The product then just becomes a touch point and of a holistic customer experience. And I know Bree touched on this, that's awesome. Service design helps you understand the problems of your service and what you can do to fix them. It's based on humans, and it focuses on the development of a service. It helps your business see it in a bigger picture and understand the tools that you need at every interaction to fix those. So how do you do it? We do it through service blueprinting. Now, this is a map of every step that the consumer usually goes through when they interact with a service. It includes digital and non-digital, and it helps your business understand the journey to connect those two together. A customer journey map focuses on just one journey, and it interacts between touch points or pain points, as opposed to the service blueprint, which goes much deeper into that relationship. And it's all about the customers and the employees and marrying those two together. Blueprints are a treasure map that help your business discover weaknesses. And we do this with everybody in the organisation. It's not just salespeople and marketing people, but it's people from CX, it's people from legal, all walks. So it's basically, think about it like a live performance. You've got a front stage and a backstage. Your consumers are on the front stage. They're the audience. There's a whole lot of stuff going on in the backstage that they don't see, but it's very critical to the experience that they get. In summary, customer experience is a team sport. The magic happens when everybody in the organisation works together. Remember, your brand is your reputation, which is controlled by everybody who works in your organisation, and is measured by the reality of what you produce: products, services, and channels. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Dee. Excellent. Thanks very much. For everyone, quick, get your questions in nice and early, because I've only got 2 on here so far. So looking at you, if you've got some questions you want to ask.
And I was going to say I did it very quickly because it's. Has anybody heard of Pichu Ketchu? It's a very rapid kind of presentation format, which has come out. I think it's 20 slides in 20 seconds, but I couldn't talk that fast.
Perfect. That's my hack for presentations moving forward, I think. 20 seconds, done. We'll jump into the questions. So the first one is, do you do a different blueprint for each customer segment?
Yes, we do. There's a whole team of global product marketers at Xero, and we all work in different portfolios. But in my portfolio, yes, we do. Because we need to understand that journey because it's different parts of the product. So we need to understand what's going on in the back end, all the customer service things and all of the other stuff that the customers don't see as opposed to what the customers see. So yes.
Excellent. And I guess, following on from that, how do you manage, and this isn't a question, this is one of mine, how do you manage having so many of those different blueprints all kind of like vying for attention at one time?
Yep. We do them in different stages. So especially if there's a new feature that we're launching, we would do one at that stage to make sure that we've uncovered all the problems or potential problems that a consumer could have while they're using our product. And sometimes they don't feed into one another, but we have a more holistic view when we put them all together, because as consumers, they only see the product. And actually, I didn't ask, but who uses Xero? Awesome. I'll see you later if you've got any complaints, but hopefully it's a great experience, really. Yeah.
Form a queue for feature requests here.
Well, there's only two of you. It won't be much of a queue.
But lots of questions. They've got some notes, as every customer kind of does. How do you influence people from moving from a user experience to the service experience mindset?
Internally?
I'm guessing so, yeah.
Yeah, okay. That service design process, as Brie was saying before, rather, it's a really fun process to do. We get in a room, as Brie pointed out, there are post-it notes, there's all sorts of things. So we use a tool called Miro, and we outline the whole experience on Miro. And there are little tools that you can, like fires and those sorts of things that you can put at each experience. So there's not much coaching for people to be included in the session. Everybody wants to be included in this because everybody's got an opinion, which is, and it's valid because they see it from their perspective. They don't only see it from your own perspective.
Absolutely. And I think that ties into this next question, which is with everyone owning the question and everyone feeling involved in that process. How do you, I guess, instill that culture through the business? Does everyone know that they're owning the customer as well? They do. Because everybody at Xero is really passionate about our customers. Mm-hmm. We've got quite a big community following, so there's never any issue. Yeah. And how did you move to this, everyone owning the customer state originally, if that was something that you had influence on? That's a really good question. I've been there 18 months, so the company's been doing this for quite a lot longer than I have. I didn't actually start it, but we've got a service design group or department that works for Xero. Excellent. Well, that I guess is, how did you, find it moving in from someone who potentially, come from an organisation, I guess as most of us, where, it's very isolated customer ownership. I was talking to someone yesterday where, sales and success own it and don't let anyone else talk to their customers. Yeah. How did you find that transition then? I have to say that I was really excited to work this new way because it's a holistic way of looking at the customer. My last organisation, we didn't do that. And possibly our products sort of suffered for not doing those sorts of things. So by looking at it in a holistic way with everybody in the organisation is a really great way to do it. So I didn't have any issues going from what wasn't working to what was working. Naturally. And I've got one more question. So if anyone else has got questions, quick, get them in now. It says, omni-channel support platforms, and there's a brand name shout out to Zendesk here, essential for creating a great service experience. Essential for creating a great service experience? Know your customers. And I know that this has obviously been the theme of the whole event, but it's really important to know what they want. I think sometimes we concentrate on what we want as an organisation and the products that we want to put out, as opposed to whether we put them out
people will come, but will they love what we're doing? So really knowing what your customers' needs are.
Excellent. All right, well, thank you very much. And quick round of applause, everybody.